So as I got quite a few questions about how to do that Celtic necklace without a Celtic texture stamp, I'll show you how to actually make a Celtic texture stamp. Um, Make the first one, you will need two, okay? The first one, make it with polymer clay. I would suggest for the second one to always have in the house bake and bend. That is absolutely awesome to make stamps. So cut a piece, a rectangular piece of polymer clay. Here I made it 4 inches by 1.5 inches, but I would suggest that you make it like 3 inches by 1 inch. um, and then mark a couple millimeters from the edge and the middle on both sides. And I will first show you how to place the strips, and I'll show you with some snakes, but then I will show you how to do it with the strips as well. But again, I would suggest you make it smaller than I made it here. I made it here bigger so you can see better what I'm doing. Then slightly score those edges so you would have a point of reference. Don't worry, those will be on the bottom and will not be seen in your texture stamp at all. But that is just for you to have points of reference when you arrange your strips on the texture sheet. And I'm using a toothpick there. You can use whatever. So get 4 snakes and pinch them together 2 by 2. Then place them in the corners on one of the sides. Place them in the corners, and now you have to watch carefully how I am arranging them. So you'll have top, 1, top 2, bottom 1, bottom 2. Bring the bottom one up, it's going to go to the middle. Bring the top bottom one down, it's going to go in the middle. Then bring the edge ones up. Watch out how one of them goes up, over, and one of them goes under. Then lift that one and bring the top one, top one under. That one's going to go in the opposite corner, the same as the very bottom one is going in the opposite corner. The ones that are towards the inside go at the middle edge. And all you have to do is to practically kind of weave them. Then bring the one that's in the middle bottom up and bring it up to the opposite corner. Bring the one that's in the top up and bring it in the opposite corner. It doesn't look like much with the snakes, but this is just to explain to you how to weave the whole thing. And it also will look much better when it's smaller. So I would say 3 inches long, 1 inch tall. Leave a few millimeters. You can also put make them closer together and put another small strip at the long edges. So now cut strips that would be about 1/8 of the width of your plate, and again pinch them together, cut, and then remove those little extras and pinch them so they would be pinched and blended nicely. I'm not gonna finish this one, of course, but you make sure that you finish those areas nicely. I don't need to have this stamp as I have that other texture stamp. Do the same for both pairs of 2 strips. And then the same as you saw me doing with the snakes, arrange them in the 2 corners on the left hand side. Now, of course, you can do this directly with cutting and stuff, but believe me, you're so much more prone to mess up than doing it this way. Now arrange them so they would be easy to weave. If you have hot hands, I suggest you use some talcum powder. And then again, the same way that we did with the strips, and you can practice with the strips a little bit. Now remember, the top one, top one will go to the corner, opposite corner. The bottom top one goes to the middle. The top bottom one goes to the middle. The bottom one goes to the opposite corner. So all you have to do is to just weave them. It's a very simple, and this of course can be extended to much longer length, but it's not at all once you get the hang of it and you're careful on the weaving part. So see, make sure that always any of the strips has 1 over 1 under, 1 over 1 under. So that one needs to go under, bring the other one over, and we are almost done. Now the top, the one that's in the middle top comes to the opposite corner. The one that's on the bottom top comes to the opposite corner. And again, make sure that they are always once over, once under, once over, once under. Then you can use your hands or a toothpick to arrange them. That's why those scored marks are helpful. And as I said, you can use some talcum powder so you don't have to pull and distort if they get stuck. Don't press too hard right now. And then put them together in the corners, and again do that oblique cut with your blade. Remove the extra. And then blend the corners nicely. We are almost done. There's only one more thing to do, because this would not work as a good texture stamp because you have some areas that are way more raised than others. So what we need to do now is to get the X-Acto knife and see all those pieces that are under that raise the other strip. We need to get rid of those. So we are going to gently cut, make gentle cuts so you don't go through the whole sheet. You only cut the strip wherever you have a raised strip of clay. Cut on both sides. And it's okay if you cut about like 0.5 millimeter away from the raised strip. It's even desirable to do so because that's going to give you more 3D effect. And once you did that, gently lift the strips that are over and grab and push out the piece that's under, and then place them back in place. Now I didn't use talcum powder here. If you use talcum powder, this will be a breeze. And again, make it much smaller. And I would put on the long edges, as I said, I would put not as thick a strip as this one, maybe half the size, but put a strip in length, kind of like a border, because that's going to give an even more Celtic-y effect. But yeah, because I had not just on the comments, but I had a few messages too. How can I make it look Celtic if I don't have a Celtic texture stamp. So this is how you can make one. Of course, if you don't have bake and bend, obviously, uh, you bake this, then you take the imprint from it, because that's the second imprint that you will be using, not this one. You want your pieces to look raised like this. So this will be your negative, from which you will be doing the final texture stamp. So yeah, I thought that I have a few minutes free and I can post real quick this tip. And of course, then flatten it a little bit, because you want it to be fairly flat, and I would suggest that you bake it on tiles. Remember, sandwiched between tiles, so it would be perfectly flat. So here's a quick and easy to make Celtic texture stamp. Remember, this is the negative. You'll have to make another one with the imprint of this one to use for the Celtic necklace. Happy claying!